sort of annoying, like to be harassed like this. Towercraft needs his towers to sort of survive here. So, you know, he has to come back and defend his base to some level, and he wants to keep the shop alive, because the shop's probably the most important part of his strategy. If you look at boots of speed plus level 3, one walk is always an important thing to have. Whenever you're going Blade Master, you're going to be chasing down weak units. You're going to be hurting, needing to kill units that are barely escaping from you, especially if the undead has aura. So it is very remarkably important to have those boots of speed. That's something I really can't stress enough. If you look, Towercraft has made 2 bestiaries. His strategy will be using wyverns for the early portion of this game. The thing about wyverns is that since the undead player is going fiends, it makes it very hard for the undead player to really, I don't know, more or less, it makes it very hard for the undead player to actually. It makes it hard for the undead player to fight directly, because wyverns will die to fiends. It's pretty it's pretty obvious that wyverns will just get owned versus fiends. So it's a very important thing that Towercraft does in, just. Yeah, it's a very important thing Towercraft does in going wyverns and not fighting him directly with the wyverns, because they would just die senselessly. He loses his Blade Master here, which, it's very hard to keep your Blade Master alive, especially versus such a large army that this undead has going on. I believe he's about 40 food right now. The main thing with your Blade Master is if you know you're dusted, dust isn't an area of effect thing. Most of you probably know this, but I'll just go over it. When a unit gets dusted, it's revealed for a duration of so much time. No matter where it is on the map, if it's invisible, it counts as being visible. Which is why people, they get confused. Like, if you dust 5 archers, they run away, to, let's say, out of your sight range, and then all hide. If you go over there, you'll still be able to see the archers, simply because the dust doesn't wear off. It just sticks on them for a certain period of time, and then eventually they will be hidden again. It isn't something that lasts forever. Sorry. The undead's putting a lot of pressure on Towercraft right now, which is pretty much exactly what you should be doing. The only thing I would be doing different than the undead at this point is not harassing anymore. I would tower up all my ziggurats, to spirit towers, and then try and make an expansion. Anytime you're versing a towering opponent, the main thing is it's going to be difficult for them to make an expansion with only a solo hero and a small army for the vast majority of the game, because the idea by making so many towers is replacing the units that you'd normally create, in Towercraft's case, grunts or headhunters, with towers. And the main thing about building the towers is that you're just buying yourself time. The negative part is you're not going to be able to go out and creep as much as you'd like. And it's sort of a shame that, it's sort of a shame that Towercraft has such a hard time, because I think it's kind of cool how, this strategy works, and I wish it was more viable than it is, because most experienced players will be able to counter it, and the main way is expanding. The undead player should be applying a lot less pressure here. The undead player is most likely just very frustrated. It's hard. It's especially hard to be fighting versus someone with so many towers and to not be frustrated, because that's what you want to be frustrated. I mean, if you think about it, God, he has so many towers. He's just building this army, and I can't stop him. He's not even microing. Well, that's arguable, but the fact is, towers are pretty hard thing to play against, but are very counterable. Towercraft's playstyle, as interesting and fun as it is, really doesn't have the longevity that a playstyle like Todd or Fav or anyone else has, or Zayat or Grubby, simply because it doesn't have just the ability to consistently win games as well as anything else. If you look at the items on the Blade Master, which I think is very important, he has 2 claws of attack, a talisman of evasion, boots, and lightning orb. The Blade Master is a machine. Oh my lord. A claws of attack plus 12 and plus 6 is 23. Is like an ass load of damage, just an ass load. It's 32 to 54 plus 23 damage. He does a minimum of 55 damage per hit, and that little thing isn't including the crits he does. Crits are ridiculous. They do so much damage. It's phenomenal, really, because you know, like he's gonna be critting for like 200 damage when he's level 5. 200 damage. Look at like a Fiend's HP. They have 550. That's like almost half the Fiend's HP. You have to be really thinking exactly what a machine he is. And people really underestimate, oh, it's just one hero. Well, let me tell you, a hero will drop to the Blade Master. Any unit will drop to the Blade Master who has a lightning orb, who's purging and immobilizing units and just focusing them down with like invulnerability potions. It is very, very hard to get away. And I think the undead here is very severely underestimating Towercraft's ability to be focusing down units individually. Towercraft just hasn't really finished creeping out the upper right-hand camp because I think he just wants to go on the harass, trying to annoy the undead as much as possible. And what's amazing right now is that the undead has a pretty good chance of losing his Lich, which I believe is probably just going to happen. Because, like, if you look at what's going on, yeah, bam. 201 damage, critical hit, epic. And look at how fast the Blade Master is. There's a Fiend bullet chasing him that would normally have killed him, but Boots of Speed plus Windwalk, the Fiend bullet dissipates. The ability to get away is probably the best thing to cover with the Blade Master. One of the strongest reasons for his harass at such a high level. At level 4, the Blade Master has a movement speed like of a gyro. That's like the fastest movement speed of the game. I think it's like 400. I'm guessing. I want to say it's like 400. I'm not positive. But there is a max movement speed in Warcraft. And I believe the Blade Master pretty much hits it. And if you think about how fast something's going, just with an entire army focusing him, they're only going to get one round of hits off. So it allows him to safely make close calls, which is also very frustrating to your opponent. Another thing that Towercraft's been doing is he has been dusting his base every so often to keep any shades out of there. Shades really put a damper on the Blade Master simply because shades reveal him and make it very difficult for Towercraft to really operate as stealthy as he would have liked to. One of the main important elements of the strat is the ability to act under the guise of Windwalk. If you look what's going to happen now, Towercraft's going to run over and he's going to creep this red camp. He figures the undead's just sort of camping his base. He's not really doing any creeping. So he can just safely run over here, creep this camp, and that'll be that. Level 4 Blade Master is a machine. I cannot reiterate this more. He's going to creep out a level 5 Ogre Magi, 2 level 3s, and 2 level 4 Berserkers, all by himself with 1 healing potion and the little scroll of healing that's dropped. And he's going to nearly get level 5. And the higher level the Blade Master is, the more valuable anything you can do. Anything he does becomes. His crits become larger, his ability to Windwalk becomes better. Pretty much everything. He just becomes better in general. Another thing you'll look, he get fortified armor on his burrows and towers, which is very important. When you have fortified armor on your burrows and towers, it makes fiends pretty much useless versus them because they do basically no damage, and peons repair faster than they can do damage. And yeah, sucks to be undead at that point. Towercraft, oh, he's so smart. Runs over here, first thing he sees, picks off the meat wagon, kills it so fast, purges it, that's it, meat wagon dead. And he just starts picking off all the weak units here. He knows that the level 3 Lich and level 3 Death Knight can pretty much cut down the vast majority of his HP. So the way Towercraft's looking at it is, hey, I don't want to be involved in that, I want to get my kill, invulnerability potion, and I'm out. Every time he does that, while it costs him 150 gold, it costs the undead 230, and it also makes it so Towercraft has a very rough time, Towercraft gets more levels on his Blade Master, which is very important. It's basically the first thing he wants in life, is to have a higher level Blade Master, because that's going to allow him to just focus units down better and just keep better control of the game. Now, a really interesting thing is you never expect a player with only one hero to be able to expand. Well, in the upper right hand corner here, Towercraft is making an expansion, and it's pretty incredible to me that just by making those 4 towers, he's secretly making an expansion that one would never imagine him to make.